Yes, I think we're live. Hi, everyone. If you can hear me and see me properly, just please leave a comment on the comment section so that I can know for sure that we are live. I ask this on every episode, but yeah, it's very helpful for me to know that everyone is actually seeing and hearing me. But without further ado, welcome everyone to another episode of Perfect Beer Talks webinar. My name is Enki, and I will be your host once again today. Today we have so far we've had guests from the US, we've had guests from Germany, we've had guests from Turkey, but this time for the first time ever, I think in the history of Perfect Beer Talks, or at least from the ones I have interviewed, we have a guest from Spain. He is the R&D New Product Development Technician at Mahao San Miguel, and I just wanted to give him a warm welcome. Igor, welcome to Perfect Beer Talks webinar. It's so nice to have you here.
Good morning, Enki. Thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be today with you.
The pleasure is mine, and I just want to just go ahead and start with the first question. A question I ask to almost everyone is, can you please tell us a bit about your background and how you started your career in the beverage industry?
Yeah, well, I think I always say that the life brought me to the brewing sector because, well, I studied agricultural engineering, specialized in food industries. And when I finished my degree in 2008, that time my partner was from Germany, so I was living in Spain. So I decided to go to Germany.
Mhm.
And while I was there, I started to learn German, and I was going to a private school. And one day there was a visit to a group of from that uh, German school. So I
Mhm.
went there and I saw how they were working, and I thought that it could be interesting for me as I always have been drinking beer. I was always a beer customer. I thought that it could be nice to learn something about it, and I started an internship there.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's how the story started. So you said
Yeah.
you always loved beer. Uh, before I'm curious, Igor, before you knew anything about the beverage industry or beer or how to brew, and Igor now, is that your taste the same in beer? Or has it changed at all?
Yeah, I think it changed a lot. Yeah, it changed, and I also discovered many new styles I didn't
Yeah.
know, or it was even difficult to find any some styles we can find nowadays. They were in that time. We are talking
Mhm.
about 2005, 7, 8. I mean, that time the beers, the foreign beers I drank, they were German beers, the Weizen beer, and also they were popular the Belgian ones. So,
Mhm.
and nowadays we the beer styles are what you can find anywhere. It's great. It's amazing. So I also in this period I try new beers and I develop my taste.
And what is one of the best beers you've drank lately? Did any type of beer just stay in your mind?
Yeah, the good thing I remember that I tasted and drank a really nice beer in the Barcelona Beer Festival a couple of
Mhm.
years ago. It was a saison
Okay.
aged in white wine barrels. It was really nice. I mean, I was very surprised when I tasted it, and I think that makes for me a difference when you are trying a new beer and you have an expectation and
Yes.
you really say, "Wow," that's for me great. And it happened with that beer. So and yeah, I enjoyed a lot. The bad thing is that I just found it there, and I don't remember which is the beer name. Yeah, I don't even know if they brew anymore that beer.
That's so sad. That's so
Yeah,
sad. But I really hope you do find it again soon. And you mentioned the great beer, and I just wanted to ask, what distinguishes a good beer from a great beer for you? So there are beers where you say it's good, but then there are beers just like you mentioned, like, oh my god, this is great. So what
yeah.
what makes a difference for you?
I think it has nothing to do with the ingredients or process or style. it's something like quite unique between the beer and the customer. In this case, between me, it's
Mhm.
a feeling I have when I drink it, and that what I said. It's like, wow, when you drink something and you say, wow, that's a great beer. It's something that you get surprised with what you are drinking, what you are smelling, and or it happens at least with me, is that when I find a beer that I really like, and what I it's like I want to try once, again and again. I want to smell
Mhm.
again that beer. I want to put that beer again in my mouth. That feeling, it's what it happens to me with amazing beers.
I completely understand you. So, by the way, just like your story, like similar, like mine is also a little bit similar. Before Pabino, I enjoyed beer, but I didn't really know much about beer, and I didn't really want to know much more about beer either, because I always thought that beer was a very set thing. Like you have three or four different types of beer, and that's what they serve, and that's what you drink. And I was more like one of those people who just drinks like a cold Corona on a hot summer day at the beach with my family and friends, but I was never somebody who would seek to learn or to taste different types of beers. That changed when I came here, because obviously I'm exposed to amazing types of beers and so many different types of beers. And then I realized beer is not really set into stones. You can really make great things with it, and you can be as experimental as you wish. And there are different tastes that fit to different types of people and different cultures as well. And for example, I realized I don't really like I don't like the normal, like the type of beer that we're all used to. So like a normal ale, a normal pale ale. I prefer Napa, for example. So when I drank my first Napa, I was like, what? I did not know beer could taste like this and beer could taste this good. And I still, like, every time that I drink beer, I just seek for that Napa kind of taste. I want that fruity taste in the beer. And that's like the more I learned about beer, the more I realized that not only can you just enjoy it in so many different ways, but then it also, there are so many different versions that it can fit to so many different taste palettes and peoples and culture as well, which I think this is what was great about beer in general.
Yeah, yeah, I understand perfectly what you mean.
I'm glad. So I wanted to ask if you could share a point with any historical figure, dead or alive. Doesn't have to be historical, just whoever you would want to share a pint with. Who would it be?
Well, if it was a historical figure, I think it could be good or nice to with Mahatma Gandhi. I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would be,
because
very awesome.
yeah,
That's,
because he was a special person, very open minded for his time. He traveled also across different countries, and he had the ability to talk with all kind of people. He could talk with
Mhm.
his uh, his neighbors, whoever he could find on the streets, and but he also could talk perfectly and with prime ministers.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think that the way he lived, and the power he gave to the forgiveness. I mean, I think it's amazing. It's great. So I think if I have the opportunity to
mhm,
decide who
mhm.
I want to share a pint with, it would be or someone very funny, or a person who could, you know, teach me something, or who, and I think Gandhi is a nice
Yeah,
example.
I'm sure you'll have great conversations with Mahatma Gandhi.
Mm.
Now, if you actually had the chance to, if he'll call up right now and he'll say, let's go have a pint together, in which bar would you send him? So, what is the favorite bar of yours?
Well, I think I don't have a favorite bar, and I think I like bars where I feel comfortable. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I like to have a relationship with. I mean, if I go often to a bar, I like to get on well with the waitresses, and
Yeah.
you know, and I like to enjoy with my friends or whoever I'm with in the bar there. But if I can decide, I mean, I would like to the bar to have a variety of beers, Also non-alcoholic options, because
Okay.
nowadays I'm also drinking quite a lot of non-alcoholic beer. And if they have kombucha, better also, because I'm
Okay.
also a regular kombucha drinker. I brew kombucha also by myself, so I like also to try new kombuchas.
I love kombucha as well. I don't brew it, but I love drinking it in general.
Mm.
It's really nice. Okay, that's very cool. So actually, to be honest, I asked this question to a few of the other guests, and everyone usually says the same thing. It's not about the bar; it's about the way the bar makes me feel, or the way that the people in the bar make me feel, or like at least the people that I have with me that make the atmosphere, the best atmosphere possible to share a pint with a person. So I think most cicerones and most certified cicerones like yourself always have the same answer. First of all, they always want clean lines for the best beer ever, of course. And then second of all, they're like the people is what matters the most when you drink beer.
Yeah, that's about the lines. That's a basic. Yeah,
So, since we're talking about lines, our last guest on Perfect Beer Talks webinar was the founder and CEO of Draftline Technologies, Jennifer Hawk, and I asked her to come up with a question that I would ask to the next guest of Perfect Beer Talks webinar, you, without her knowing who the guest was going to be. By the way, I just told her that he is in the draft beer industry, in the beer industry, just create a question for him. And the question she came up with is, what is the number one thing that you feel could improve quality of draft beer?
I think number one would be the cleaning
Yeah.
of the lines. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if there was any second one, it would be, or the type of keg you're using, because if you're using some kind of kegs, the beer can stay fresh longer.
Okay.
And if it's a regular keg, I mean, then the time in which the beer stands in the keg, it's good
Mhm.
to the beer to be fresh there, and not you to open the keg and the beer stays there for a long time.
I
Those will be the two main aspects, I think.
For sure, for sure. And for the clean lines, I'm just curious. So, for the US, they clean their lines. So, like not legally, but they are from the Brewers Association in the US. They are recommended to clean the lines every 2 weeks. What about Spain?
It depends. It depends. I mean, it depends how often also you are. I mean, how much volume you are
Mhm.
consuming of the beers, But and it changes also depending on the venue
Mhm.
or the company. So I mean, and for me also it's not the same if we are talking about a filter beer or an unfiltered beer. You
Mhm.
have to be more careful with unfiltered
Yes.
beers, because you have more yeast. And before also you mentioned NAPAs.
Yes.
Those also sometimes be problematic. So you have to pay
Yes.
attention also to the type of beer you're serving. So yeah, you have to adapt it.
I see. I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, from Germany, we had Dr. Stefan Lustig, who was actually also part of the FS team until a few months ago, and he said if I would, because he's a brewer as well, and he said I would rinse my lines every day, and I would clean them bi-weekly. So this is what he recommended, but as you said, it depends on the beer type, of course, because some of them do have more yeast than the others, or they are a bit more problematic, like you mentioned. But for example, in the US, uh, actually not in just in the US, in Europe as well, people don't really understand the importance of clean lines. Like in Turkey, for example, we had a lot of people who come to us and say, I clean my lines every month. Awesome. New York as well. I clean my lines once a month. That's perfect. We're so hygienic. We're so good on this topic. And we're like, no, 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 not at all. Because you have to clean them more often. Because clean lines basically mean better beer, and it's very very important
Yeah,
for the bar owner to actually make more money, and also for the customers to be happier as well. Okay, so since we talked about beer lines, I just wanted to ask you about. So you mentioned basically you work on the R&D, new product development technician. So innovation is part of your job, and I just wanted to ask, since innovation plays such a significant role in the evolution of the draft beer market, can you share some cutting edge technologies that you find promising in enhancing the draft beer experience for customers globally or like worldwide?
Well, I think what you guys are doing in Pavino, it's amazing. It's great, and it's something that helps from one
Mhm.
part the customers and also to the bar owners and restaurant owners. Because at the
Mhm.
end, what you thanks to your technology,
Mhm.
different bars can manage better their beer lines
Yes.
more when we are if we talk about craft beer bars where we have different kind of beer styles, there are a lot of taps. It helps a lot the management, and as you said, if you have a lot of information about how much beer I'm selling, how fast I'm selling my beer, is my keg empty, not, is it, when did I clean my lines? I mean, if you are controlling all that information, you will be able to serve a better quality beer to your customers. So that's perfect. And then also about, the if you are reducing the the beer losses
Mhm, mhm.
also helps the bar owner. So I think, I mean, I really don't know other beer draft technologies that are working so deep and so hard in in this segment. So yeah, I think it's a good example what you're doing.
Thank you, thank you. And since what we do is, of course, related to technology and AI, I just wanted to hear from your perspective. As you know, AI, artificial intelligence, has basically just is ruling the world right now. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is using it. At one point, some people are still reluctant on it. Some people are just embracing it and making it a part of their lives. When it comes to the business world, many industries have done the same thing. They have just completely embraced it, and they are getting the fruits of the labor of the AI. However, for the beverage industry, it seems like we're still a bit further from embracing it as much as the other industries have embraced like artificial intelligence and robotics in general. Um, I'm just curious to see what you think about the future of the beverage industry when it comes to embracing technology in the next 10 years. Do you think it's going to get even bigger? People are going to embrace it even more, or do you think it's going to stay like it is right now? Because at least for the beer industry, the tradition is such a big thing for us, and we love to stick to it. So most people love to stick to it, and it's a bit difficult to convince them that innovation is still good even while also respecting tradition. That's what I wanted I'm curious to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, I think, as you said, I mean, I think the AI will be a very important. I think it will be a very important tool for the brewers.
Hmm.
Nowadays, we are still, as you said, at the beginning of this process to start working with it, but the potential is there. I mean, no one can't say that the potential is huge, because at the end, from our point of view, I mean, if I want to develop a new product,
Hmm.
what I need to know is what kind of product I want to develop to brew. And to do that, I have to think about the customers. I mean, the customers are the, the, the most important part of this thing. So if the AI is able to give me data from the customers about what they like, what they may like in the future, I mean, we can get information very fast, a
Hmm.
lot of information. So it's a really good data to work with. Yeah. Then also, I mean, you can optimize the brewing processes
Okay.
with the help of the AI.
Yes.
You can control your process if there is any any deviation or something, I mean, you can work on it. And it's true that nowadays still, I mean, we are not using it, but it will come. Then also, I mean, the personalization of the beer experience. I mean, the AI can help to do that. I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
and they also, I mean, we can also have we can have more quality control and consistency also through the AI. And there is also something that I think it will be interesting is that the AI can help us in the future to maybe, I mean, to you, we can, I think from my point of view, it will be a tool that I will be able to use to discover new ingredient mixes or whatever, because we will be able to interact with the AI, express
Exactly.
what we want, and the AI can give you some recommendations that
Hmm.
you may not even never think about those, ingredients together. Or so I think it's a very, very interesting thing.
Actually, ChatGPT already does that. I tried it. I'm not a brewer, but I just was really curious to see how ChatGPT would answer the question of come up with some different types of beers I can brew in my brewery, etc., etc. And it came up, and I just, for example, said my taste is this and that. I would like to have a beer that is more sweet, more flavorful, or whatever. And it came up with like many different recipes. And again, I'm not a brewer. However, I did show them to somebody who is a brewer, and they were amazed by the answer that the ChatGPT gave. And for the part that you said, the quality and also knowing what you're selling, how much you're selling, what to do next, what to order next. So actually, Pabino does that, as you know, and around 2,000 bars globally are currently doing that with Pabino Smart Tab, Smart Clean, and Smart Hub. However, it is something that should be, I think, embraced by most bars and brewers in the world, because it's not about keeping the tradition, it's about making the experience much better while also respecting tradition, in my opinion. Because a lot of people say that draft beer is done in this way, it's been done in this way for many centuries now, so we can't change it. Just how the telephones were changed, just how so many things have evolved with time. I think it's time for draft beer to also evolve. And yeah, thank you for your answer. I think you basically mentioned all of the good things that will come by integrating technology and AI in the draft industry as well. Now, from I wanted to ask you a question that was, is do you think the draft beer industry is proactive or reactive? But I think with the lack of data, it is reactive. But we're trying to make it proactive. But if you want to elaborate more on this, how do you think the draft beer industry is right now, proactive or reactive in general to the customers or to the industry?
Yeah, I would say that it's more reactive.
Yeah,
More
right.
reactive. Yeah, because I mean, at the end, it's a kind of when you're brewing beer. Yeah, you have
Mhm.
different stages in which you can improve the quality of the beer, or you can decide what a beer will look like. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I always say when you're bottling a beer, I mean, the only thing you can do is to make it worse, because you won't give any special quality. Or I mean, if you don't do the bottling correctly, you can just spoil the beer. Yeah. So
yeah.
I think that with the draft, I mean, beer, it happens the same. I mean,
Mhm.
it's something that it has to be perfect,
True.
and the only thing you can do is to enhance the experience through the serving process and
Exactly.
through the quality maintenance of the beer. So that's why I think it's more reactive than proactive, because
Yes.
it's like, yeah, it has to be, it's a basic that to be fine.
For sure, for sure. Now, as you mentioned, you have been working in the beverage industry since 2005, right? If I'm not wrong.
No, no, 2008.
2008, sorry, I'm very sorry. So from all of these years, I think 16 years, yeah, 16 years has been since you entered the beverage industry. What has been the most memorable moment for you so far?
The most memorable moment, I think the period I spent in London was great. Was great
Mhm.
because it was a moment I was there between 2012 and between 2012 and 2014. I was there, and it was a very interesting moment because a lot of small breweries were mm, they were, you could find a new brewery almost every month, and I met many brewers there, and there is the London Brewers Alliance in London.
Yes.
So yeah, that time was nice because I was working there as a head brewer. Yeah,
Okay.
so I was brewing the beers, and I could brew a different beer every month. And that the point of, I mean, me to be able to meet so much brewers, just 1 hour far away from where I was living, because once a month there was a meeting of the London Brewers Alliance, so I could meet many brewers
Yes.
in the same place, without driving a long way, and that time was really really interesting and very good for my experience. So I like it a lot. Yeah,
And did you notice a change between the Spanish culture and the British culture when it comes to draft beer preferences?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
A big
what? You
difference.
mentioned a few.
A big difference, and I mean, in the UK they also have the cask ales.
Okay,
They
yeah.
are totally different way of of serving beer and drinking beer. So it makes a big difference, and also I was surprised when in the UK, you can find a lot of taps, a lot of
Mhm.
cask beer, a lot of draft beer, a lot of ales, but you can also in the same bar find six different lager beers, and it's strange. It was very strange for me because in
Mhm.
Spain you may have one, two, and maybe the same brand but different versions, but
Yes,
there I mean, you can find a lot of different lager brands in the same pub. So
that's awesome. And who do you think enjoys beer better, the Spanish or the British?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it depends. It depends. They know their way to enjoy it, and we know our
Mhm.
way. I
Mhm.
think in our case, the way we enjoy beer is a lot related to
Yes,
social events with friends, and there is also many times food. I mean, we drink and so we eat together. Yeah, it
and
was.
what is your favorite thing to eat while drinking beer? Or does it depend on the type of beer that you're drinking?
Well, I think it depends, but I think that a good pairing is like a lager beer or an IPA with a pizza, for example. I mean, it's simple, but it works. It works fine.
For sure. I also love paella with beer. I don't know if you guys do that. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't want to, but I love having beer with a paella, especially like a nice paella is something that I really enjoy personally as well. Okay, then my second last question for you is: what advice would you give to aspiring brewers or people who are aspiring to enter the beverage industry, the beer industry, considering the experience you've had so far?
I think what I would do is to learn about. I mean, about those things I like most. And that's what I did. I mean, when you really are passionate about something, it's good if you can learn or everything you can study. It's great. Then also if you can go to different bars and to meet different professionals, if you have the chance to meet different professionals, it's good to
Yeah.
talk with them and to you know it's always also I think good to have a experience. I mean, you can maybe if you are young, you can start also gaining experience in a bar, in a craft beer bar, where you can find a lot of different beer styles, and then also if you really like the brewing process, you can also find some craft breweries in which you could work, or yeah. And I think a very important thing is to overcome the fears you may have. I think that they are the most limiting things for everyone. So if you have a fear, I mean, just try to overcome it, because then, I mean, your grow the way you can grow is amazing. I mean,
What a great advice. Yes, yeah. Okay. So Dr. Stefan Dustik actually asked a question. The person I mentioned from Germany, who was also a guest on Perfect Beer Talks webinar, uh, he said, "Hi, Igor, una pregunta."
una
he,
pregunta.
From my perspective, the Spanish beer tradition is based on more smaller serving sizes. I love this fresh proposition and the thirst quenching experience. How does that translate into dispense technology and hygiene standards? And by the way, say hi to Bennett from Stefan.
Wow. Yeah, he knows Bennett. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we, yeah, I think, yeah, in Spain we drink maybe smaller beer glasses than in Germany or in the UK. I think about the how, which is the translation with the dispense technology and hygiene standards. I think it has more to do with the volume of beer that a bar can sell. I mean,
Mm,
depending on how much beer you can serve, the point is that you may want to have, first of all, a beer on tap, because if you're not selling enough, maybe it doesn't make any sense you to have that beer on tap. Second, the size of the keg. I mean, depending on how much volume you're selling, you may take a bigger keg or a smaller keg. Yeah, for example,
mm,
to give an example, yeah, and that it has to do, I mean, a product that is more sensible on tap, it's a non-alcoholic beer. Yeah, it's a good example. So it makes sense if you have a smaller kegs for this kind of beers, and you check more or better, the hygiene and the cleaning process for this kind of beers. Yeah.
mhm.
So, I mean, I don't think that the size of the glass, or at least I don't see the link that has to do. But yes, the how much beer you're selling or serving. Yeah, because you
So,
can serve a lot of small glasses.
yeah.
You know, so
So what I think, so if I didn't understand it wrongly, in Spain you guys are serving smaller portions of beer into glasses, right? So instead of having like the normal 30 cl or 50 cl, it's less like 15 cl, right? I didn't misunderstand you.
you have different options. You can choose a smaller beer or a bigger. Yeah, you can choose a caña or a doble. Yeah, but it's true that, for example, comparing to the UK, that, I mean, there is, I mean, the normally what you order, there is a pint. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's already a difference.
Yes. Okay, then I see. I see. Actually, then the smart tab will be perfect for a lot of bars in Spain because I don't know if you know this, but you can actually decide up to six different portion sizes you want to serve. So if you want 5 cl, for example, you can just pour 5 cl from the smart tab. You can just have you have a screen with six different portion sizes, and you select which one that you want, or at least you'll know what the customers want the most, and you can just go ahead and just press the button, and that's how much CL is going to come out for the glass. I didn't know this was happening in Spain. Actually, that's very it's so interesting for me. Okay then, so I want to ask you the last question for today's webinar. Um, if you could change anything about the beverage industry or the beer industry, anything at all, no rules, no laws, what would you do? What would you change?
If I could change, well, I think right now I'm very interested in non-alcoholic and low-alcohol beers,
Mhm.
so I will change that proportion. I mean, and maybe to give a bigger percentage to the non-alcoholic beers, and also to have a bigger range of non-alcoholic beer styles. I think that would be very interesting. Personally, I would be happy about it, and you to be able to find easier, like interesting non-alcoholic beers, and yeah, that would be the first thing. And the second, I think maybe, yeah, I mean, apart from having more non-alcoholic beers, I think maybe, yeah, I don't know how to say it. Like, yeah, to be able to personalize your beer experience, like to make it very personal, like at the bar, but that's something like very futuristic. Yeah,
Not
that
really.
you,
Customize it in what ways?
yeah, I mean that you go to a bar
Yeah.
and that you decide all aspects of a beer you want. For example, let's say the color, the alcohol content, the aroma profile of a beer. It's quite challenging, but I
Yes.
think that that would be very interesting.
So basically, make your own pint from scratch, kind of thing. Like just
Yeah, imagine
yeah.
that you like a beer, yeah, but that beer, it's a very high alcohol content beer, and that you may prefer it like
Yes.
with less alcohol, or I like the bitterness of this beer, but I like the aroma of this one, or that kind of stuff would be interesting.
That would be awesome. Like now, like you have put something in my brain that I really want to happen. I really hope we can use something like that one day soon. That would be perfect. It's kind of like make your own smoothie or make your own burger kind of
Yeah,
idea, but for the it's very complicated.
very challenging. Yeah.
But it would be amazing if that was something like that. Well, that was all the questions I had for you. If there's anything else you want to share with us, please go ahead and do so.
No, just I thank you for the invitation. It was really nice to be with all of you, and I hope that there is another time.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure to interview you, and I hope I can meet you again. Actually, face to face next time, hopefully in Spain or somewhere in Europe. And yeah, thank you very much for joining everyone as well. Thank you to Dr. Stefan Lustig once again for joining to each and every single episode of Perfect Beer Talks webinar. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.